Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute 3D beaded hedgehog. So I would say this one is a bit complicated, it's not really suitable for absolute beginners, so just bear that in mind. But here's what you'll need. So to make one of these you're going to need some size 11 seed beads in a light beige colour, a darker brown and also black. And then you'll need your beading thread. I'm going to use £6 fire line in crystal and I used about 50 inches for this hedgehog. Then you'll need your beading needle. I'm using a size 12 and that's everything. Let's get started. So I've threaded my needle and then the first thing you're going to do is pick up 3 of your beige seed beads and then you're going to slide those down onto your thread all the way until there's about 6 inches left, enough to tie a knot at the end. And then you want to sew up through that first bead to bring them together into a triangle. Like that. Next you're going to pick up one of your black seed beads and you're coming out of this one here in this direction. You're going to go through this one next to it, but kind of in the same direction, so you're coming up through that bead at the bottom. So that that black bead sits on top like that. Now you're going to move back through the next bead in the circle, which is that one that you were originally coming out of on the top of the triangle. So move through that one. And then you're going to move back up into that black bead once more. Just kind of holds it into place in the middle of that triangle. So that is the hedgehog's nose, right at the end there. So now you're going to move through one of the beige beads. It doesn't really matter which one, just make sure you're coming out of one of those in that little triangle. And then I'm going to turn it over and I kind of hold it with the black bead between my thumb and my finger. So you've got your little triangle on the top again. And you're going to pick up one beige, coming out of this one straight through the next one. And again, picking up one of your beige beads, this time coming out here and going straight through the next one. And one more for this row, picking up one, coming out here, straight through the next one and up into the one above because it's the end of the row and you need to move up to the next row so you can start adding more beads. So you should have this. So this time you're going to pick up 2 beads each time, so starting with 2 beige, coming out of this one on the corner, skip the next one and go through that next bead on the corner of your triangle. And again, picking up 2 beige, coming out the top, skip over one and go through the next one on the corner of the triangle. And finally, last group of 2, so pick up 2 again, coming out here, skip that one, go through the next one. And because it's the end of the row, you want to step up through the following bead as well, like this. So now we have this and pull it nice and tight. So next row, start by picking up one black bead. We're going to add the eyes and go straight down through the next bead next to the one you're coming out of. Now this time we're going to pick up a beige bead and we've got that gap there, so you're coming out of that bead, we're going to skip the one next to it and go through the one after that. So you're between one of those groups of 2 again. Now you're going to pick up another black bead for the other eye and go straight through the next bead because we're between that group of 2, so straight down through the next one. Okay, now finishing the row with beige, so pick up one, you're going to skip over one and go through the next one. Then you're between a group of 2 again, so picking up one and straight down through the next bead. And then this is going to be the last bead of the row, so you're going to pick up one. So coming out here, you're going to skip over one, go through the next one like always and up into the black bead as well for our step up, so that you're ready to continue on the next row. Pull that through and then pull that nice and tight. So for this next row, you're going to pick up one beige, coming out of this black one, you're going to skip over one and go through the next one on the top row. So there's 6 beads on the top row. You're going through the next one. Picking up a beige, skipping over one and going through the next one, which happens to be the next black bead. Again, picking up one beige again, skipping over one and going through the next one. So that's what you're going to do all the way around, picking up one, skipping over one and going through the next one. Pick up one, skip over one, go through the next one, and then this is going to be the last bead of the row. So picking up one like always, skipping over one, go through the next one, which is the black one, and up into the one above, which is going to be the first bead we added in this row. So you've always got to remember to step up into the bead diagonally above. Otherwise you won't have any gaps in order to do the next row. So pull it nice and tight like always, and we should have this. So this next row is going to be exactly the same. So picking up 6 single beads and putting them in these gaps. So every time picking up a beige, skipping over one and going through the next one on the top row. So you're going to do that all the way around 5 more times, and then when you get to the end here, don't forget to step up into that first bead you add in this row. So here I've gone all the way around and I'm stepping up, like I said, into that bead so that we're ready to continue on our next row. So pull that nice and tight, and this is what we have. Now we're going to do the same again, picking up one, skipping over one, going through the next one. And again, you're going to do that 6 times in total. So picking up a beige, skipping over one, going through the next one, just the same as the 2 rows below. And do that all the way around, and don't forget again when you get to the end of the row to step up into the next bead above. So I've gone all the way around and I've stepped up, so you should be coming out of one of these beads on the top row. This time you're going to pick up 2 beige beads, skipping over one and going through the next one. Again, picking up 2, beige again, skipping over one and going through the next single bead on the top row. So you're going to do that all the way around again, each time picking up 2 beads, skipping over one and going through the next one. Pick up 2, skip over one, through the next one. Picking up 2, skip over one and go through the next bead. And finally, the last 2, picking up 2, skip over one like always, go through the next one, and it's the end of the row, so you want to step up, but this time you're going to step up through the next 2 beads because we added them in groups of 2. Pull that nice and tight, and you should have this. So you've got all these little groups of 2, if you can see them. They're the beads we're going to be going through this time. I'm going to go through them together as if they're 1 bead each time. So picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through 2. Picking up 1, skip over 1, go through the next 2. So that's what you're going to do all the way around for this row, so you're going to do that 4 more times, each time skipping over 1 and going through the next 2. So go ahead and do that 4 more times. When you get to the end, don't forget to step up. So at the end you'll go through those last 2 and up into that next single bead, like I'm doing here. So I'm just showing you how to do the step up at the end. And then pull that nice and tight. So for this next row, you're going to pick up 2 beige beads each time because we're going to fill those gaps where we've got 2. So skipping over 2 and going through the next 1. Again, picking up 2, skipping over 2 and going through the next 1. So that's what you're going to do all the way around again. So picking up 2 each time, skipping over 2 and through the next 1. So you need to do that a total of 6 times, so go ahead and do 3 more groups of 2 when you get to the end. Don't forget to step up as always. So you should have stepped up and this time you should have stepped up through a group of 2, so just make sure you're coming out of one of those groups of 2 before you continue. Then you're going to pick up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next group of 2. Go through both of those beads together. Like that. Again, picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next 2 on the top row. And that's the pattern for this row, so you're going to keep doing that all the way around, picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next 2 on the top row. So you need to do that a total of 6 times, so go ahead and add 3 more beads and then step up into that next single bead above. So at the end of the row you'll go through the last 2 like always, and then up into that single bead above. So go ahead and do that. So then once you've done that, you should be coming out here, out of this single bead, and we're picking up groups of 2 again. So picking up 2, skipping over 2, and going through the next single bead. Same as the 2 rows previous. So picking up 2, skipping over 2, going through the next 1. So go ahead and do that 4 more times. When you get to the end, don't forget to step up. Again, this time you're going to step up through 2 beads. That first group of 2 that we added. Step up through both of those. So then once you've done that, you should be coming out here. So you're coming out of a group of 2 and we're back to single beads. So picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next 2. Pick up 1, skip over 1, go through the next 2, and you're going to do that all the way around again. So do that 4 more times, 6 in total. Don't forget to step up at the end, so you're coming out of this single bead. Then picking up groups of 2, so picking up 2, skipping over 2 through the next single bead, picking up 2, skipping over 2 through the next single bead, and again do that all the way around, so 4 more times. Don't forget to step up through that group of 2 at the end. So you should be coming out here, out of that group of 2. So next row is single beads again, so picking up 1 beige bead, skipping over 1 and going through the next 2 each time, doing that a total of 6 times in the row. So picking up 1, skipping over 1 through the next 2. Go ahead and complete the row with 4 more beads and don't forget to step up into that single bead at the end. So you're here. Now this time, instead of picking up groups of 2, we're just going to pick up a single bead. So we're decreasing back down a little bit. So picking up 1, skipping over 2, but going through the next single bead on the top row. So it's just going to close in a little bit when we pull it tight at the end. Picking up 1, skipping over 2, and going through the next one on the top row. Picking up 1, skipping over 2, through the next one on the top row. Do that 3 more times and then stepping up into that next bead at the end. So you're coming out of this bead here, which is kind of closing into the middle a little bit more rather than sitting on top now. So there's 6 beads in the middle that we're working with, which I don't know if you can see here. These are the 6 beads and you should be coming out of one of those before you carry on. Okay, so for this row we're kind of decreasing back down to 3 beads. So each time you're going to pick up 1 and skipping over 1. So you're coming out here, you're skipping over 1, you're going to go through the next one, skip over another one and through the one after that. So essentially you're coming out over here where your thread's coming out and you're going through the next 2 beads that are on the top row, or that inner row of 6 that I just pointed out. Hopefully that makes sense. Pull that through and then you'll see that thread that will cinch together when we pull it tight at the end. So again, picking up 1, skipping over 1, go through the next one, skip over another one and go through the one after that. So through the next 2 on the top row. And last one of the row, picking up 1, coming out here, you're going to skip over 1, go through the next one, skip another one and go through the one after that, which can be a little bit fiddly, like that. And then it is the end of the row, so as always we're going to step up diagonally into the one above. And then you want to pull that nice and tight, and those little threads will cinch together and decrease your piece back down to this little triangle. Now we're going to pick up one. Coming out of the top bead in that triangle, you're going to go through this one on the bottom. So you've got those 3 beads in the middle that you're working with. It's probably going to be easier on your own piece to see where they are. Again, picking up one, coming out of this one, going through the next one in that little triangle. So skipping over the 2 that are cinched together and going through the next single bead. And then one more, same thing again. So coming out here, I'm going to skip those 2 that are kind of joined together and go through the next single one and up into the one above as well. So now you've got those last 3 beads you just added. You want to circle through those to bring them together. Go through those a couple of times. Pull it nice and tight, and now we have our cute bold hedgehog. Okay, so for the next part you need to be really careful about making sure we're going through the same beads. So if you turn it upside down and look at it so your eyes are on the bottom, and then you've got your nose here, and following on from the nose you've got in the middle these groups of 2 that I'm pointing out, if you can see those. So move around so that it doesn't matter which beads you go through to get there, just make sure you're coming out of one of those groups of 2, or that group of 2 right at the end, at the back of the hedgehog. So there's your nose, follow that row of single beads straight down, and then you should meet these 4 groups of 2, and this is on the bottom, like underbelly of the hedgehog. So just make sure you're coming out of there so we're in the same place before we carry on. So then if you turn it around a little bit, you're coming out of that group of 2. The next row along is this row of single beads, and then you've got another row with another 4 group of 2. So move up through one of those single beads and up into that back, like furthest from the front, that group of 2 right at the back. And then down through the next group of 2. So this is where we should be. Then you're going to pick up 2 of your beige and go back up through the group of 2 at the back to create our first little foot. Now down through the next 2 again, up through the next 2, heading towards the front of the hedgehog, and down through the next 2, these 2 right at the front of the hedgehog. And then we're going to add a group of 2 again, so picking up 2 beads, 2 beige, and going up through those next 2, like heading towards the back of the hedgehog again. So you have your little feet for that side of the hedgehog. Okay, so we need to get over to the other side, the same position on the other side. So start by moving back down through those 2 beads at the front, that group of 2 there, and then turn it round a little bit again so you're looking at the bottom of the hedgehog. Move down through the next single bead that I'm showing you. So you're here. So now you should be able to move down through that first group of 2 on that underside. So there's your nose again, follow the line down, and that's that 4 groups of 2. You're going through the first one. Turn it round a bit more, and you've got that row of single beads. You're going to go down through the end one of those, the one underneath where you're coming out of. And then you should be able to see you've got those 4 groups of 2 like on the other side. So go down through the first one, up through the one next to it. Now you can add your group of 2. So picking up 2 and coming out of these second group of 2, you're going to go back down through the first group of 2. And then moving along back up through the second group of 2, down through the third group of 2, and up through that final, the one right at the back. Then you're going to pick up 2 and go down through that third group of 2 again. So that's your 4 little feet all added onto our little bold hedgehog. So next we're going to add the ears. So what I've done is I've just moved my thread round so I'm coming out of one of the eyes. So as you hold it like this eye on the left, we'll say. So just move your way around until you're coming out of that eye there on the left. And then that bead diagonally above it, you're going to go through that one next. And then through this bead diagonally below that one, moving towards the other side of the hedgehog. And then into the bead diagonally above that one again. So you're coming out of this bead that's kind of diagonally above the right eye. Then you're going to pick up 3, beige again, and you're going to skip over the black bead and the one above it and go through the one after. That's kind of right opposite the one you're coming out of. Pull that through and adjust it a little bit so it sits nicely, and that's your first ear on your little hedgehog. So now you're going to move to the other side. So I'm just moving up through this bead next to the one where I'm coming out of, just going up through that one. So we're changing direction back over to the other side. And then I'm going to go through that black bead of the eye, through that one in the middle next to it, kind of above it diagonally, through that one right in the middle that's in line with the nose, and then into that one that's diagonally above the left eye, and picking up 3 beads again, skipping the eye and the one above it and going through the one on the other side. So there we have our little ears on our hedgehog. Now all we need to do is add the spikes. So to begin with, we've got to move down to the back of the hedgehog a little bit. Now, it doesn't matter where you start your spikes from, so literally just move along until you're on that main body part of the hedgehog. It's completely random how you add the spikes, so don't worry about not being in the same place as me. I'm just making sure I'm somewhere on that back half of the hedgehog where I want the spikes to be. And so what you're going to do each time, and I'm not going to be able to show you adding all the spikes because it would take hours, so pick up 2, slide them down till they meet the little hedgehog, and then you're going to ignore that first bead at the top and go back down through the bottom one. So ignore that one on the top, go down through that one on the bottom like that, and then right where you're coming out of, stick your needle straight through your hedgehog till it comes out the other side, and then pull it down, and that's our first spike. So I'm coming out over here now, so again do the same thing, picking up 2, slide them down all the way down, ignore that second one, go through the first one, stick your needle back in close to where you're coming out of so it doesn't like drag and distort your piece, and stick it all the way through till the other side. Make sure you come out somewhere different each time, and do the same again. So basically you're going to keep doing that, and it does take a long time and it does take a lot of thread, but keep going and adding as many spikes as you want. If you want more spikes than what I did, you may need to add an extra piece of thread, but just keep going doing that. I kind of do it until it's all covered. I do it like around the back and right down to the base near to the feet, not so the feet are covered, but right down to there and to right behind the ears. So keep going doing that, and then until it looks like this. So do as few or as many as you want. I probably could have fit a few more on there, but yeah, keep going until you've got this final result that you want, and then you're going to tie off your threads. So I'm going to show you now, because I'm not going to show you how to do all the spikes because it's just completely random anyway. So once you've got all your spikes done, you want to move your thread down towards the bottom of the hedgehog, because you're not going to be able to see in between the spikes very well to tie knots. So try and move it down to the bottom so that you can see where you are, because you shouldn't have any spikes under there. And then you're going to take your needle under the thread that's connecting your bead to the next one till you have a small loop, pull it down, and then you're going to go through that loop twice, pull it nice and tight, make sure the knot tightens, and move far away from your knot before you cut it. You can tie a few knots and then move away before you cut it so it doesn't unravel. Do the same with your tail thread and we're all done. So that is what the finished hedgehog should look like, and I think it's really cute. So I don't know what people are going to do with their beaded hedgehogs, but it was highly requested when I asked for which animals you'd like to see me make. So leave a comment down below for any others that you want to see. Like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed to see more of my videos. And you can follow me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye!